Mike has seen a family, and he in a vision what his family would be like from Job Corps if he could have had a kid and a woman that could have explored and adventured together and had a good life. But God had other plans, and the kid loved his God. But it was a vision of what they could have. But the government and the NSA, they said they gnashed their teeth at the kid and said, it's not fair, it's not fair. The one who Delta Reese, Virginia, and they copied the U.S. because they refused to, they had bigotry and they refused, so the kid copied them. So every son and his daddy thought that the kid was God and that he had some type of supernatural powers. But they were safe in the satanic system. But little Mike's soul was brave, and the brave at heart inside of every other's treasure. Inside of every other's treasure. And it was the soul of little Mike that had history. And from this Montrose Harbor Roar, with the old tablet in Juniper, when the kid's birthday, what had happened? What were the conditions of those roars? What was the back of little Mike in those roars? And to this day, how did they try to steal little Mike's films and books and literature? And who told them they could do that? If they were in the satanic, safe in the satanic NSA, who told them that they could reach for little Mike's stuff? It's satanic bigotry. They didn't care. They didn't care about what was it that was of the lilies. But the Lord protected the kid's soul, and it was photography and film was modern and stuff like that, but the lilies of nature was pretty and beautiful, and God protected his soul. But little Mike had gone in his literature, and he had gone, though he had looked funny, and though the kid had looked funny and he had looked ugly and stuff like that, it was here in these prairies that the kid was incompetent with Ravani, and he was incompetent with his films and stuff like that, and he was incompetent away from the bombs, and he was no longer a bomb when he came into this place. But the NSA and the Vilahati, they said, no, it's not fair. And so they try to make a new attack from 2016, because they already made the same attack in 2016, but they try to say, oh, we're going to make a new attack in 2017. But who told them that they could do that? Who told them they could cheat like that? They did bigotry of the U.S. They didn't care. They didn't care. Bigotry of the U.S. They didn't care. But little Mike walked down the avenues. He had walked down the avenues of the prairies, and the prairies from Virginia, and his soul has so much history to it. But what was the history of little Mike from Virginia? What was the history of little Mike from 2016 Juniper? What was the history of the kid from 2015 when Obama was president? For the whole world, it was President Morris. In Kentucky, you had the albino. In Kentucky, you had the albino on the Chicago city line. And you also had President Morris as they try to attack the kid from the young one from Emerson. And then you had Juniper all the way to 2017. So you had the magic draw. But little Mike was like the purview of nature. Even though he was a naturist person and he liked taking pictures of nature, it wasn't enough. So he made his films about Ravani and stuff like that. And he made his films about Ravani, but Ravani couldn't touch the free soul of little Mike in real life. So he played sports and made movies about his action in sports. And then he had that action in sports brought him into a land of black people. So he had Mook and stuff like that. But little Mike's soul, where did it rain in the far eyes of nature? Where did it rain in the far eyes of nature? My bad, Chris. Like I don't mean to drop like a mom, but shit. That's how I be living and stuff. I know Chris be like that too, man. Like, he was brave, man. The real ones know, you know what I'm saying? But still, where did the eyes of the whole nature of Little Mike, who was run out of school by black people? So the education no longer worked for Little Mike. So he was free in the system. Little Mike was free. Education no longer worked for him. But he had no administrator. He had nobody to set the boundaries of his morning and his nights. He had no friends. So he was stuck with nature. And he was stuck with nature as a grown, young, intelligent, most intelligent, smartest man in history. But the boundaries of the U.S. and all of the structures of the U.S. had already cultivated what you normally see. But Little Mike had a vision from his youth to create. But he was now free from the borders and systems. He was now free from the borders and systems of the school, of educational systems, of Truman, of all colleges and stuff, because he was the smartest intellectual. But that separated him from a normal life. So he was antisocial and he had psychology. He had a book of psychology. But was Little Mike's book of psychology legit when he went to the yard and was in the same grounds as the bomb? But it was only the history of Little Mike. For they were safe in the satanic NSA. But Little Mike had history from Virginia, history from 2016 Obama presidency, and all of the Villanhante and their sons throughout the same presidency of the year who were in the satanic NSA. But Little Mike's history separated him. But who was to account for Little Mike's emotions as the bitchery of every son and his daddy try to put Little Mike in the same psychological place? Shit, taking the time for you to remember something beautiful. And I promise I won't let you go. And I promise that I know where Little Mike had the films. And he was a master at literature. And he was a master at making films, but that was only because of the levels that God had put in his life. So with all the bitchery of every son and his dad trying to deadify Little Mike, what was the levels? Where did the levels of his history remain of him growing taller and getting musical outbursts and getting literature films? Where did Little Mike's soul remain? Just a few time for me to let go. Then you had a return from Virginia, Woman of Pilar. Woman of Pilar. Little Mike kept going back to his elderly mom's house, but his elderly mom was not elderly to him. He fought for his mother to be young, but God said it was her time. But Little Mike had all he known was his mom. All Little Mike known was his mom. So he walked back to his mother's house where his mom was old and where he could paint, draw the pictures of the woman at Pilar, because nature already spoke. The kid would recreate nature, but the beauty of her already spoke.